So earlier this year, the Yankees swept the Tigers, and the Tigers today returned the favor. Tyler Wade playing center field today, Miguel Andujar playing first base. Doesn't Cashman get tired of seeing guys play out of position? Doesn't Hal, on a $200 million team, doesn't he get tired of seeing them not hit against weak starting pitchers? I want to see what their reactions are like, because personally, as a fan who's been watching for 30 years, this team is almost unwatchable this weekend. How do you go from sweeping the White Sox and playing so well against the White Sox to being swept by the Tigers? Just awful. From top to bottom, this team needs a good old-fashioned audit. Who's part of the solution going forward and who's expendable? Because to me, right now, this combination, not getting it done. Everything from the minor league development personnel to the scouting department to the players themselves to the coaches, the manager, and even the front office. Brian Cashman put this team together. Brian Cashman has been the Yankees general manager since 1998. He was the youngest general manager in the history of the New York Yankees. There he is right there. He benefited from Gene Michael putting together one of the greatest dynasties in sports. He rode those coattails, but he's had the reins now for over 20 years. How many championship teams has he managed to put together on his own merit? 1. 2009. And that year, you signed the 3 best free agents. CC Sabathia, Mark Teixeira, who I'll get to in a minute, and AJ Burnett. And that team took you to the World Series. Since then, nothing but underperforming, with the exception of 2017, and you go ahead and fire the manager and break apart the team. The problems with the inconsistent play with the Yankees can't be solved by trading for a Trevor Story or trading for a Brian Anderson. So it may not happen this year. But this team needs a major overhaul in their philosophy, their coaching, their player development. And I see the comments coming in, and I'll get to the comments in a few minutes, I promise. But I need to finish these thoughts, because if I don't, I'm just going to explode. Just going to explode. The inconsistency is what bothers me the most. So let's go through some of the problems and some of the solutions maybe that I would go with. I've just been kind of jotting some things down. Step number 1, before all else, before you do anything, call up the Yankees extended spring training site and say, pack your bags, Jason. Mr. Dominguez, you're going to single A. We need to get this guy facing some actual talent. Get his minor league development clock started. Playing in extended spring training is not going to do anything for this guy. We need to stop babying these prospects so that when they get to the big leagues, they can deal with adversity and they can achieve after some rough times. Because right now the team starts to fail and everybody collapses. Gleyber Torres has 2 home runs this year. 2. Things start to get rough and his defense falls apart today. This team is not mentally tough. We need to get Jason Dominguez playing against actual players. Let's see what this kid can do. That's step number 1. Next, I am hiring as augmented staff a mixture of scouts, player development personnel from different organizations around the league. Go get me some Pirates pitching development people. Go get me some Rays analytics people. Go get me some Dodgers position players development staff. And the good news is you're the Yankees. You can afford to pay this guy, this guy here making $80,000. You're the Yankees, double his salary. It doesn't matter to you. It doesn't count against the payroll. Go get some new development eyes on your people, because I look at the farm and I don't see any fruit. I don't see anything to harvest. We need some fresh eyes and fresh perspectives on our minor leaguers, because the guys we're calling up just aren't doing it. Step number 2, fire Marcus Timms. Full stop. He's had a few years to get this offense going. They either don't hit in the playoffs against good pitching, or now this year they just completely fall apart when they try and change their approach. His hitting philosophy does not work. He couldn't hit in the major leagues. He can't coach major league hitters. Period. Get rid of him. I'm hiring 2 hitting coaches. I'm getting Dave Winfield, specifically to work with any hitter who's 6'5" and over. He's working with Judge. He's working with Stanton as their personal hitting coach. Let's see what he can do. And then I'm getting a normal-sized hitting coach who understands hitting from both sides of the plate. This is a guy we all remember, Mark Teixeira. Before the shift was employed, he was a 300 hitter. He hit from both sides of the plate. He hit good pitchers. He hit bad pitchers. He hit to all fields. When they adjusted for the shift, he had to get into more of a home run or nothing approach. And I don't blame him because the Yankees had this short right field porch and he was strong enough to do that. But he understands hitting. He knows how to hit a baseball from both sides of the plate. Both sides of the plate. Those are your 2 hitting coaches. Dave Winfield, Mark Teixeira. Matt Blake and the pitching staff have done fine. I also have no problem with Eric Cressey despite the Yankees' current injury situation. The whole league is having injury issues. I think it just comes down to how everyone trains. I think there's a lot more emphasis put on weight training than probably should be, and weight training is important, but strength and flexibility, and to me, there's a lot of guys who have stayed healthy. Judge has stayed healthy this year. Stanton came back in like 12 days from his injury. That's a 5-month improvement from his usual hamstring injury. Come on. So I'm not going to hold Cressey responsible. Next moves you need to make. Send Mike Ford out of here. We need the roster spot, and he can't hit. I don't care that he's lefty, and I don't care that he can scoop. He's fat. He can't run. He can't hit a fastball above the hands. Send him on his way. He should be delivering my DoorDash order, not playing first base for the Yankees or any Major League Baseball, period. Not everybody can do it at the big league level. Sorry, Mike Ford. You're a great AAA hitter. That's all you ever became. Done. Move DJ LeMahieu to first base. He's your new first baseman for the next 5 years. Glaber, even though he's been great at shortstop, move him back to second. He's not a long-term shortstop. He's too bulky. Move him to second. He's going to be a great second baseman. He's not hitting for power. He can be a pesky contact second baseman for all I care. Just move him. You need to go get a shortstop who can hit. Maybe it's Trevor Story. Maybe it's a prospect somewhere. Maybe you just signed Corey Seager in the offseason, but you need a lefty or a switch hitter who can play defense and who can run. Until you get that person, congratulations, Tyler Wade. You're our guy. Make the plays and we won't have a problem. Fire every single person involved in base running, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Whoever the base coaches are, get them out of here. Sanchez thrown out again today. Yankees have had like 27 people thrown out on the bases this year. Unacceptable. Gio is fine at third base. He's part of the solution. I'm reconfiguring the outfield a little bit. I'm sticking with Judge in right field. But Hicks and his contract were a mistake. Don't care that he's injured. He's got to go. If you have to release him, you release him and you eat the money. Cost of doing business. You make bad business decisions in any business, you got to pay for them. That's just the way it goes. Clint Frazier has a ton of upside. Had a big hit in the 9th inning today, but the Yankees are not the place for him. He deserves to be somewhere where he can be himself, where he can grow his locks out and wear his shoes and just hit without the constant media pressure. He's too good. He's not going to develop in New York. He's just he's too up and down. Clint Frazier is part of your trade package to wherever. For left field, I'm going for the meantime, and I'm getting Corey Dickerson from the Marlins. Not a power guy, but he's a solid hitter. He's in like 277. He's a good outfielder. He played for the Rays, so he's familiar with the American League East. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He gives you a little bit of flexibility. You know, he can leave and you can rebuild. For center field, I'm doing whatever I can to go get Ketel Marte. He's a switch hitter, power, speed, makes good contact. And if you can't make a deal work, Estevan Florial can play the position and learn to hit at the big league level. The guy hits the hardest ball all week, a double off the left field wall from the left side, and you send him down after the game. Tyler Wade was playing center field today. Tyler Wade's a second baseman. I'm letting Giancarlo Stanton finish the season as the DH and hoping he can get hot again, because when he's hot, he's unstoppable. But then after the season is over, I'm calling every team in the league, and I'm asking them, how much does it take? How much do we have to pay you to take Giancarlo Stanton as your DH? And if you have to pay $15 million per year to get someone to take him, then you do it, folks. That's what you do. You need the roster flexibility. Got too many bulky, injury-prone, strikeout-prone players. Too many right-handed hitters. You need the roster flexibility. We all love Giancarlo. We love seeing Stanton and Judge on magazine covers with their biceps bursting out of their uniform. They can be pitched to, back-to-back. And Stanton can't play the field anymore. He was acquired to be your left fielder. He can't play left field. You need the roster flexibility. I'm sorry. And if he says, I'm sorry, guys, I have a no-trade clause, I'm not going, then you cut him. And you eat it. I'm sorry. It's not my decision. I didn't trade for him. And when Voit comes back, you can put him at DH. He can play a little DH, first base a little bit. I still like Luke Voit. He's injury prone though, and I want to get him off his feet. He's the prototypical DH, not Giancarlo Stanton. Lastly, I'm politely thanking Brett Gardner, giving him a gold watch and sending him on his way. Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone, also, thank you for your service. You'll be getting calls about your Yankeeographies in the future. And by the way, Phil Nevin, he can take off too. My manager, Buck Showalter. My bench coach, Luis Sojo. My third base coach, Willie Randolph. Rant over. Let me know what you think. Fritz Walter says, I hate I was right. Davey had no chance. Yeah, Davey looked like a deer in headlights yesterday. Nick Weiner, however you say it, says, worst Yankees offense I've been watching 30 years. Yeah, they're 22nd, I think, or 23rd in the league in offense right now. Absolutely terrible. Let's see. Corey TV says, Yankees deserve to be swept by the Tigers with the way they played in the series. Yeah, that was absolutely terrible. Wombag says, Dominguez is not ready. Florial is. Call him up. Yeah, I'm not advocating for bringing Jason Dominguez to the major leagues. He is ready to play minor league games, though. He's got no business in extended spring training against Yankees coaches. That's like taking your star little leaguer and letting him play t-ball. He's going to dominate. He's going to play well. He's not being challenged. The only way you get better at something, at anything, is by challenging yourself, by pushing yourself to the limits, especially as an athlete. Let him play. Quit babying these guys. Wojciech Cebulski says, we need Epstein. I'm assuming you mean Theo Epstein and not Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, Theo Epstein has won championships with the Red Sox and Cubs. Let him complete the big market trifecta. Let's see. Arav Vias says, I'm so embarrassed to support this team right now. It is embarrassing. They're just terrible. Sawbelly says, 100% on your management team. Who's your hitting coach? So I talked about this earlier. You might have missed it. I would get 2 hitting coaches. I want Dave Winfield just to work with Stanton and Judge. After his rookie season, Aaron Judge went and worked with Dave Winfield, and he had his best year ever in 2017, after that horrible start in 2016. And then I'm bringing in Mark Teixeira to work with everybody else. A switch hitter, so you have the righty-lefty problem figured out. And he used to hit for average before the shift. He's been a broadcaster and an analyst, so he's familiar with how to work with the media. He's got a wealth of knowledge. He played in the National League. He played on the West Coast. He played on the East Coast. He's a long-term veteran. He got paid $100+ million. So he's not doing it for the money. He's doing it because he wants to help and wants to win. Mark Teixeira is my guy. Benjamin says they need a trash can strategy. Ouch. Let's see. Wojciesk says, I mentioned it one more time. The problem is the Yankees offense is built to hit dingers. No one thought that the dead ball, or whatever, it's a useless strategy against the dead ball. Yeah, the Yankees are a home run team. I mean, that's the problem with getting home run hitters and not putting your eggs in the baseball player basket. I think about the best teams I ever saw. The 1998 Yankees were unquestionably the best team of my lifetime. That team was led in home runs by Tino Martinez with 28. 28 home runs. And they won by moving runners, by hitting sac flies. I think that team set the record for most sac flies in an inning twice that year, and it was 3. It's hard to hit 3 sac flies in an inning because you have to rely on an error. And they did that twice, I believe, that year. That was a team that was relentless in taking pitches and working the count, but they didn't take a million pitches and then strike out. If they got 2 strikes on them, they shortened up and they put the ball in play. Sprinting water, here we go. We need a bajillion-dollar owner who's ready to spend big. We have the bajillion-dollar owner. I don't know if he's ready to spend big. PJ King says, what the hell was Gary Sanchez doing? You know, Manny Ramirez used to do that. They would say Manny being Manny. I think that was just Gary being Gary. Gary is very dumb. Gary's just a dumb person. He's just, I mean, you watch him, he just does dumb shit. TJ says, how long is the Glaber experiment going to last? And by the way, it's Glaber with an E. Glaber Torres is fine. He's just not the power hitter that we thought. I think he's one of those guys that would benefit from a new hitting coach. Whatever this hitting strategy that Marcus Timms has pushed on him has not worked. When he first got to the Yankees, before he got a chance to be poisoned and corrupted by this system, he was a great hitter. He was a great hitter. When he first got to the Yankees, you remember he hit that big 3-run home run against the Indians in I think it was the bottom of the 9th. A child will lead them, was Michael Kay's call. Well, that child has forgotten how to hit. So, look, the Yankees have some work to do. I don't want to spend my entire holiday weekend being angry about them, but hey, look, Army Joe with a dono, appreciate that. 26 outs on bases falls on lack of manager and lack of discipline. First of all, horn. Dono hype, appreciate that. Yeah, so it's a lack of baseball acumen. Gary Sanchez getting thrown out on the bases is a baseball IQ thing. The Yankees constantly sending runners from third on contact over and over and over again. They have to realize they're not a fast team. You can't truck the catcher anymore. If you're going to get thrown out, just don't run. There's a time to be aggressive on the bases, and there's a time to be conservative. If the ball is in the infield, if the ball is within 20 feet of the infield, and somebody is ready to throw it, maybe be conservative. If the ball is in the outfield, and they have to field it and throw it, then you can be aggressive because then you have a longer throw. Play the percentages. Don't just say, I'm going no matter what. The Yankees coaching, the Yankees player development, the Yankees general manager and roster construction have all been absolutely atrocious. How do you go from sweeping the White Sox to totally taking your foot off the brakes against this pitching staff who frankly couldn't get half of you out? I feel like what we're watching right now, this home run by Greg Bird in Game 3 of the 2017 American League Division Series, might have been the high point of this dynasty, of this championship window that we were supposed to get. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a day. I hope you all have a wonderful Memorial Day. Yankees play tomorrow in the Bronx. Let's hope they show up.